Welcome back to Nightingale's Motorcycles, Restorers and Metal Finishers. Today we're back on some of the parts which I probably showed you in the week or a couple of videos ago, and we're on this exhaust system now. What I showed you was the customer had brought it in to us. We've cleaned it back. It's had a light coating on it of something someone sprayed on it, but it'll come off with a good quality acetone. Not a problem. That's loads of times this happens when people bring things in. And we're going to get this prepped. I'll wipe most of this off and then I'll put it into a dry blasting cabinet, right media for it to accept a ceramic coating. The thing is, I've just changed the media again. We change our media all the time because you can imagine contamination is one of the biggest things in media, and that's what we do. We paint a lot of ceramic coatings. This will be an heat proof, paint resistant, breakthrough resistant, and the customers actually let me, after speaking to him, tell you what it's actually off. Now you can understand we do ask everybody that we can show the parts. If some parts we can't, that's fair enough. So this is a combined inlet exhaust manifold for a 1932 supercharged Wolseley Hornet Special. How cool's that, eh? So it deserves a little bit of dedication to it. So what we'll do is we'll get it to the dry blaster, then I'll show you a picture of it coming out, so don't bore you, and then what we'll do is we'll get it to the spray booth and we'll mix some paint. I'll tell you what we're doing with that, and go from there. A lot of the times these exhausts come in, we see it on a lot of race bikes. They usually have one of these things in box, and I read the instructions. I think they're called a rattle can, probably because they rattle. So shake vigorously for 2 minutes, 45 minutes you can touch it, and 24 hours as a diamond. Just have a spray. Yeah. And it sprays like a garden hose, so guess we won't need that. Right, into dry blaster. Right, so we're back. We've got the exhaust pipe blasted off. I hate that word blasted because it always sounds so aggressive, and when you see me media, which it's the right media for the prep for a ceramic coating, but it's so clean, you know, clean. It's just the word blasted. It's a low pressure. So as you can see now, if you was at home now and you brought this in for me, if you notice when I started to take that off, that paint what had been put on by what do you call them things again? Oh, spray can, yeah. Spray can rattle. You rattle them for a few minutes. This is the kind of thing you could use a spray can, because now we've got a nice key. It'd be the perfect key. So at this stage now, what I'm going to do is, because I think it'd been a new fabrication, I'm still going to go through the thing that I'm going to give this an acetone down for 20 minutes. Let it soak in. This day I've changed my gloves as well, because even, you know, any grease contamination print when you're doing ceramic coating, remember we don't have the luxury of a primer. You know, we might have a luxury of some mixing some different series in ceramic coatings with a catalyst, oven curing or air cure. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just put this bit of acetone in the paint room. I'm going to gas it out. I'm just going to give it a slight mist over again in here, change my gloves, hang it up in the spray booth, and then I'm going to show you what we're going to do. Well, we're going to paint it obviously, but I'm going to paint it with a ceramic coating. I'm going to show you kind of how we get ready for this, and we'll see you in a few minutes. Alright, so we've got the exhaust in the spray booth. What we've done, we've just prepared some ceramic coating. It's on a C rated, so it's air cured, so we'll go 24 hours and it's tack free, and then we've got a few days, 4 or 5 days for it to be totally hard, which is quite good when you're doing lots of parts at once, because what happens is when you've got a resin and you're using a catalyst, you're having to mix it. We mix it on digital scales, so you're 18 to 1, 25 to 1 or whatever to get your different shades, matte, satin, glossing. We haven't got the luxury of you know, them in pots ready. We weigh it out on digital scales, and then that goes in an oven. This is a C series of a ceramic coating, So, which I do a lot of Yamaha casing, LC casings with it, a lot of exhaust, motorcycle exhaust, classic exhaust, because it's that kind of colour. Because there's so many blacks, obviously, so it's a good one, this. So we've got it on a 0.8 spray gun, which I've got some cheaper guns and some water guns. I use the water guns sometimes when I'm doing piston coating, and I'll show you that some of them my valve coatings. I've got cheaper guns which I use for clear coat lacquer. So what I've done, I've dot and dabbed round in and out. I'm going to go in and paint and finish just now. Finish the exhaust, paint them off. We'll have a look at it. They'll be a bit bright at first because they'll still be wet, and 15 minutes later they'll dull off. They'll kind of just solvent themselves out. So lovely colours. As I say, we've had to just turn it down, running at about 25 psi. But when we turn everything down, because there's so many inserts in this particular exhaust, so we kind of dot and dab and then flare it out. On some of the things people ask, how do you get your wet film thickness? Well, we've got wet film thickness readers, obviously meter readers, but when you're used to the passes on these with the pass of your fan pattern, the PSI, and now we get used to coating, ceramic coating, it's good. Remember, we don't have the luxury of primer again, so we're straight on with the coating. It's like water. This is why when you dab and turn everything down and then you flare it in, and we're running a C series, which this is called Black Velvet, this colour. I use loads of it. So let's get in the booth again. I'll finish off and then we'll have a quick look. Right, so we're done. What we'll do now is we just it'll start to just solvent itself out 15 minutes and then start. We always have a look, see when I'm spraying, because you know we've done about 40-50 dabs on here at low pressure, then altered the fan pattern a bit. So at this stage I'm happy that I've got everything, and that'll start to look pretty cool. I'll just spin it slightly so you can get a bit of a close-up there. And there we go. How cool's that? So as I say, that's a C rating, ceramic coat, petrol resistant, brake fluid resistant, high temperature coating going on this superb pipe. What I'll do as well is I'll just tell you a few bits, you know, when I say about preparing stuff. So I could have prepared this for you to paint at home, because though I've over 30 years, I mean, I'll go over a few videos. I've started off in the motor industry, motorcycles, moved on to be electronics engineer, 9 years Mitsubishi, TV video engineer, and then spent 30 years in commercial spray plants, and then went on to consultancy work within that field. And we're talking spray plants which have got £2 million robots, primer base, top coat, filter changes of 7,500 to 11,000 a week, £1 million rotary concentrators, abatement systems, half the size of a football pitch on the top running these things, water-based drybacks, electrostatic, and I've sat in hundreds of continuous improvement meetings on spray plants looking for inclusions, humidity problems, paint line, delivery systems, electrostatic, polishing. Again, we don't have the luxury of polishing, so it's back to inclusions. And this is the major players in automotive I've worked for. I still do private consultation. I usually get called in through a mixture of people still, because it's say the big multi-million pound spray plants. It could be train, it could be automotive, Land Rover type, big capacity sites, probably 700 people on a shop floor. It's not just, we're not just one person, you're part of a cog, a team, and you'll probably get called in by a chemist who's working with biocides, flocculants. You might get in with air movement guys, filtration guys, electrostatic, ABB robot type engineers, French or Germans. So it's always been interesting. As I say, I still do that occasionally. Then we come back and write the reports. My other business, the other side, we're a building and engineers, so we look after about 450 air ventilation and ducting systems, giving them the fire ticket, not only for insurance, environmental health, and then do all the malodor, charcoal filters. So there's a bit more. We've been in paint for quite a long time, but the joke is that, you know, when we get somebody spraying at home, in a garden shed, as long as you've got a little bit of air input and a little 6-inch fan blowing it out, and you build yourself a box, it's preparation. You can see what I can do here for you. Be the smallest part, and then you take it back home. And that's probably the fun part. So if you like this one, bit different, as I say, we strain that paint through metal filters, and that was an 100 mesh in a small micro gun 0.8 nozzle, about 25. It'll flash off now, and as it starts to dry off, it's got like this black velvet colour, and it'll look lovely, that's on. So if you like this video, if you'd like to subscribe, leave any comments, it is appreciated. And as always, I always say, if you've got any parts you want to bring in for me to sample or test for you, I'll do that. Again, available on 01723 370 399, based in North Yorkshire, Scarborough. Val will always pick the phone up and answer, or email back to you. You can speak to me after 3 o'clock. But again, the smallest part to the largest project, fantastic. I like that. Fantastic. See you next time.